लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नित्यो नित्यानां चेतनानां
नित्यो नित्यानां चेतनानां
चेतश्चेतनानां एको
चेतश्चेतनानां
बहूनां यो विदधाति कामान्
एको बहूनां यो विदधाति कामान्
तमात्मस्थं येन पश्यन्ति धीराः
तमात्मस्थं येन पश्यन्ति धीराः
तेषां शान्तिः शाश्वती नेतरेषाम्
तेषां शान्तिः शाश्वती नेतरेषाम्।
These verses are giving us an understanding of the nature of Atma. We looked at verse 9. This Sarva Bhutantaratma Rupam Rupam Pratirupaha. And some examples are given. 9 it says, Sarva Bhutantaratma Rupam Rupam Pratirupo Bahishya. Pratirupa Babhuva. Same thing in 10. Ekastatha Sarva Bhutantaratma Rupam Rupam Pratirupo Bahishya Pratirupo Babhuva. And then in 11 it says, again, Ekastatha Sarva Bhutantaratma, it repeats. Na lipyate loka dukkhena bahya. So establishing that it is Sarva Bhutantaratma, but it is then everything, Bahishya, Babhuva, but it is not touched by anything. It belongs to a different order of reality. Na lipyate loka dukkhena bahya. And everywhere examples are very nice examples are given. And then in the last one, in the 12th, he said, Ekam Rupam Bahudha Yak Karoti. All this is referring to the fact that there is a single Jagat Karanam, whether it is for sentient beings or insentient beings. Everything in the Jagat, there is only one Jagat Karanam. It is as though that one appears as many. That Nanatvam is only a Mithya Nanatvam. It is like the dream. Eko Vashi Sarva Bhutantaratma Ekam Rupam Bahudha Karoti. Looks like it is many of different varieties. In the last one, in 12, also says, Tam Atmastam Yeha Anupashyanti Dhiraha. He who is able to see this oneness and not only see the Aikyam, in and through the Nanatvam, in and through the Nanatvam, when somebody is able to see the Aikyam, there is a phala. And the phala, it says, Tesham Sukham Shashvatam. In this verse, which is very similar, also gives the Aikyam. It's a full, complete verse, both previous one and this one. And again gives you phala. Tam atmastham yaha anupashyanti dhiraha, same words. Tesham shantis shashvati netaresham. Now look at these two. One talks about sukha, other talks about shanti. Now, we have discussed this before also. When we look at what we want, each one of us individually, when we examine what is my life goal, whatever you start with, when you keep doing further vichara, when you keep doing further questioning, why do I want this? Whatever it is, it will end up in two words only. One is sukham, the other is shanti. How are they related? They are very similar. At an experiential level, in the Laukika level, we can look at sukham as something which is gained positively, typically for the body. It is, if you split the etymology, su plus ka is come, space. Actually, it also refers to the axle hole in a wheel. Sukha. And like a hole, it makes everything smooth. Like the axle hole, it makes the whole movement smooth. There are no problems, pain. But the sukha has largely to do with the sharira. And the sukha is sensed only when you know asukha. In an experiential way, you know sukha only when you know asukha. Somebody who's been sitting under a shade of a tree for a long time senses it, but it is not really giving him sukha in that sense. As compared to somebody who's been walking in the sun. These days, sun has become very strong everywhere. Even Coimbatore, which are otherwise very mild, we're having I saw about 39 degrees. And I'm sure in the city it'll be worse with all the concrete buildings. You've been walking in that, and then suddenly you find the shade. It is that relative thing that makes it sukha. Like I said, the person who's already been sitting in the shade may not sense this in the same way. Sukha, asukha, in an experiential sense, are nothing but relative. You can draw a scale. Similarly, shanti is what? Shanti is, sukha is when you positively get like the shade. Shitoshna is sukha. When you're breathing regularly, you don't even sense it. But when the breath falters, now you know dukkha. And now you can recognize how sukha that was before this faltering breath. Relative only. Sukha, dukkha or asukha or a scale, we move from one to the other and get a relative sense of sukha. It's a positive. It also needs an external object. something outside of the Sharira to feel the Sukha. It is a sparsha between sense objects and senses. That is Sukha. All this I'm talking about experiential Sukha. Whereas Shanti, literally, Sham Karoti. Sham, it comes from the root Sham, which means cessation. I suppose that is where the word samshan comes. Cessation of activity, especially mental activity. So in a sense, one could look at it as a negatively happening, something not happening, a disturbance of the mind not happening. So one could look at it like that, absence of agitation, absence of disturbance. It is, Shanti is Sham Dhatu with a tin pratyaya. Shanti. Relates to the mind. And Shanti is created largely by, or Ashanti is created largely by Rajas. Any activity, anything you do, whether it's physical activity or mental activity, has a tendency, has a need for certain agitation. So cessation becomes Shanti. But they are related. If you have Sukha, that does not guarantee Shanti. Look at this. Just because you're sitting in the shade after walking in the sun does not mean, that means you get Sukha, but does not mean you get Shanti necessarily. But Shanti certainly gives you an experience, can give you an experience of Sukha. What happens? Even though external objects give you a Sukha, but because the mind is tranquil, the mind is undisturbed by these external things, Uparati, one can sense, okay, I'm not disturbed, I'm not unhappy. So this is the difference between Sukha and Shanti in the Loka. And both have a range. High Sukha, medium Sukha perhaps, negative Sukha, Kala Sukha. Same thing with Shanti. Agitation can be very high, agitation can be less, less, less. Both are possible. Is that what is referred to in these verses? There's an additional word there. Shanti Shashwati and Sukha Shashwati in the previous verse. Sukham Shashwatam and Shanti Shashwati. One is neuter gender, one is feminine gender. That's all that means. Sukham Shashwatam and Shanti Shashwati. What does the word Shashwati do? It lifts it out of this experiential Sukha or experiential Shanti. At that level of Shashvata Sukham or Shashwati Shanti, they mean the same. They are not there. Sometimes you think about this, what is the difference between Sukha and Shanti? At an experiential level, at the level of Laukika, there is a big difference. But when you talk about Shashwati Shanti or Shashwatam Sukham, there's no difference. Shashwatam makes a difference. Shashvatam literally means Sa Ashvatam. What is Ashvatam? Shvaha is tomorrow. Ashvatam is no tomorrow or no change tomorrow. It is timeless. That's why the ficus tree is called Shashvata. If there is no time involved, all our Laukika things are time bound. But this Shashvati Shanti or Shashvatam Sukham, both merge into the same thing. It means the same thing. It is the nature of Atma. Whether you call it Shashvatam Sukham or you call it Shashvati Shanti. It is the very Swarupa of Atma. That is why in the Loka, when you're trying to get Sukha or you're trying to get Shanti, you can keep getting relatively more and more of it. But never can you get absolute. Having said that, a relative Sukha, a relative Shanti becomes a necessary condition to gain that Shashvati Shanti. If I am already in this current form in a Laukika way, experiencing extreme disturbances in the mind or extreme asukham in the Sharira or elsewhere, it is very difficult, almost impossible to gain that Shashvati Shanti. So it is also important to get that. So if you go back to the way we looked at how to get moksha, then therefore this Shashvati Shanti or Shashvatam Sukham is moksha. But to get there, you need a lot of preparatory work. And what is the preparatory work we know? Viveka, Vairagya, Shamadamadi, and Kritam as well. Look at each of them. Each one of them is designed to help us bring that state of relative Shanti and therefore relative Sukha, from which it is possible for us to gain Shashvati Atma Shanti. So it is necessary but not adequate. That is why if you look at all of later part of chapter 2 and chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan talks only about this. All karma yoga is meant for this. Because what causes Ashanti is those things which you're told to avoid by understanding, Vairagya, not forced, but clear understanding. Understanding of Ishvara, understanding of the fact that the end result is not under your control. With that understanding, agitation reduces. Shanti begins to arrive. And with the Shanti, Sukham comes. If there is no Shanti, Sukham is not possible. Ashantasya kutas Sukham, Bhagavan has said. So, relative Shanti, Apekshika Shanti and Apekshika Sukham are both required as a step to understand Shashvati Shanti or Shashvatam Sukham as being my Swarupa. This is what Yamadharmaraja is trying to teach Nachiketa and us. That Atma, you is the Svarupa of Shashvatam Sukham. Recognize this. Any perception of Nanatvam will immediately disturb this Apekshika Sukham and Apekshika Shanti. So in just these two lines, Shastra brings in this concept of saying, how do you get ready to understand the real nature of the self as Shashvatam? Very beautiful. So the two different phala given here, one in the previous verse and one this verse, Tesham Shanti Shashvati and Tesham Sukham Shashvatam. And in both cases, he adds another word. Na itaresham. Not for everybody. Who gains this? Who gains this understanding? Who therefore gains Shashvati Shanti? The one who is able to see through all the varieties that we experience in this Jagat, the Aikyam. Tam Atmastham. In each Jiva, we can recognize Atma. That's what he's been trying to tell us in all these previous verses. Tam Atmastham, the one that is in the Deha. The Atma that reflects in the Deha, through that one who understands Atma absolute as the Adhishthanam, not only as Sarvasya Karanam, but also as the very Adhishthanam, which makes everything possible. One who is able to see, Yaha Anupashyanti, Ye Anupashyanti. Those who are able to see, they are Dhira, Dhira Purusha. Otherwise, normally what happens? We see only multiplicity. We see difference between people and people. We see difference between people and other jivas. We see difference between people and non-living things. Therefore, I and non-I. And everything is real. All the non-I is real. And there are multiple of them. Hundreds of billions of them. There is only on this earth. If you take the whole cosmos, it is much, much, much larger, the non-I. We don't even know how much there is. When through an understanding, and that can come only through the pramana, Shabda pramana of the Shastra. When we gain that knowledge, when we gain that understanding, such a Dhira Purusha understands the truth of the self. And the truth of the self is the very Swarupa of the self as Shashvatam Sukham. It is not a scale. It is not high Sukham, low Sukham. It is not the highest Sukham. Therefore, when people use the word bliss, Swamiji is very against the use of the word bliss. As if you can go on increasing the Sukham, come to a point where it is no more. You can't do that. Ask people, what do you understand by bliss? Everybody has his own definition. This Swarupa, Ananda Swarupa, Sukha Swarupa, Shanti Swarupa, is the very nature of I. It is Anantam. It is Anandam. They are the same. There is not a relative scale in there. And this one, he who sees this has no problem. He is a jnani. He is a Dhira Purusha. This Aikyam is shown in this verse. And the phalam is also given like in the previous verse. Nityo Nityanam, Nityah Anityanam, Nitya Anityanam. Chetah Achetananam. What is Nitya? Nitya, we've seen earlier, is the, if you want, easiness, the existence principle, Satyam. Who lends easiness to everything else? Everything in this Jagat, all objects, all of space, all of time, ease. Where does the ease come from? They don't exist on their own. They only relative, they only dependent existence. Their existence is borrowed from Satyam, Chaitanyam, Nityam. Amongst all these things in the Jagat, some look like they're also Chaitana. All the animals, plants, human beings, perhaps devatas, look like they're Chaitana. Are they Chaitana on their own? Where did they borrow their Chaitanyam from? Like a room lit by a reflected sun, not directly. Several rooms, all of them are lit by different reflections of the sun. Like that, certain bodies look as if they are sentient. They are Chaitanya Vastu. But are they really Chaitanya Vastu? No. They are also dependent upon Chaitanya, the only Chaitanya, which is the same thing as Satyam. Therefore, Nitya Anityanam Nitya, that which is the very existence principle of everything. And that which is the only Chaitanyam among all the Achetana. Therefore, this Atma is the Nitya Vastu, which is the same thing as Chaitanya Vastu, which is the same thing as Ananda Vastu. That Vastu, as the Nitya among all Anitya, non-permanent, all things which are time-dependent, time-bound. They are there because there is something which is not limited by time. Kala aparichinna. That Atma being Kala aparichinna gives sustenance to all vastus in the Jagat which are dependent on time because it gives them time. The very time is a product of Atma only. So, Atma as the Nitya Vastu among all the Anitya Vastu, Atma is Satyam. Amongst all these Anitya Vastus, which includes all the Sharira of all the sentient beings, it also lends Chaitanya, Chit in all the pranis. That which lends existence, isness, that's Satyam. That which lends Chaitanyam apparently to pranis is the same Atma. The recognition is, I is that only. Not the body, mind, sense complex. Body, mind, sense complex belong to the Anitya Vastu, to the Achetana Vastu. There is only one Nitya Vastu, Chetana Vastu. That Brahman, that is I. He who recognizes this, tam atmastham yenu pashyanti, ya dhira purusha pashyanti, the phala is given. What does this do? By lending existence and chaitanyam, bahunam yo vidadati kaman. Now we have sentient beings, and then all the kama. Every sentient being has some desire. All of them, bahunam yaha vidadati. This fulfills. Now you being presented Atma as Satchit, and Atma also as Karma Phala Data. Bahunam yo vidadhati, fulfills, bestows all the karmas of all the different sentient beings. When you recognize this one thing and see that I has to be that the only thing, such a Dhira Purusha, Shashvati Shantihi Prapyate. He doesn't gain actually. Prapyate is also not a good word. He is that Shashvati Shanti. Shanti Swarupa. Anityanam Nityaha, Chetananam Chetanaha, Bahunam Ekaha, Yaha, Ekaha Sanna, Kaman Vidadati. Tam Atmastham Yaha Anupashyanti Dhiraha, Tesham Shanti Shashvati, Na Itaresham. In many places in the Upanishads you see that. He who can only see Nanatvam cannot gain this. Only the one who is able to see through all of these varieties, that which lends existence, that which lends Chaitanyam is only one, Advitiya Vastu, and that Vastu is I. That recognition is Bhashyakara takes it up. Let's read the Bashyam. Nityah
Nityah
Avinashi
Avinashi
Anityanam
Anityanam Vinashinam
Chetanaha Chetananam
Chetananam
Chetayutrunam
Chetayutrunam
Brahmadinam Praninam
Praninam
Praninam. This Nitya Vastu is explained as Abhinashi, not bound by time, not subject to time. Nitya is Avinashi, no Vinasha. Because no creation, therefore no Vinasha. And what is Anityanam? Anityanam is Shashti Bahuvachanam. Of all the Anitya Vastus, Anitya Vastu means what? That which is on a time scale. Vinashinam. Of all the things which are born at a point in time P1 and are destroyed in time T2. Avinashi is Nitya. Vinashinam, of the Vinash, things which are subject to destruction, they're called Anityanam. Similarly, Chetanaha, Chetas Chetananam. Chetanaha, Chetananam. What is Chetananam? Which look like they are sentient. What are those? All the pranis. So he said, Chetayitrunam. The one which has Chaitanyam. Trich Pratyaya. Chetayitrunam. Again, of all the ones which have Chaitanyam, which are sentient. And what does it include? Everything other than Atma. So he said, Brahmadinam, all the way from Brahmaji. Brahmaji is also a sentient being, but Brahmaji is also created. Every kalpa has a new Brahmaji. And therefore it is only also borrowed Chaitanyam. All pranis, praninam, all of them borrow their Chaitanyam from which is that Vastu, and that Vastu is I. I is that Vastu. Gives an example afterwards. Agni nimittamiva.
अग्निनिमित्तमिव
Dahakatvam
Dahakatvam
anagninam
Anagninam
अनग्नीनाम्
udakadinam
Udakadinam
उदकादीनाम्
atma chaitanya nimittameva
Atma
आत्मचैतन्य
Chaitanya
निमित्तमेव
chetayitritvam annesham.
चेतयितृत्वमन्येषाम्
Like a boiling water. It has heat. How did you get that heat? The heat was lent to it by the fire. You take a pan full of water and put it on the fire. The water gets hot. Now we have hot water. Like that, dahakatvam anagninam. Water is not fire. But water has that heat of fire. Borrowed it from fire. Anagninam udakadinam. Udaka is water. Udaka by itself is anagni. It's not agni. In the same way, Atma Chaitanya Nimittameva Chetaraitritvam Anyesham. That which is not Chetanam, like the water is Anagni, that objects which don't have a Chaitanyam of their own, but borrow their Chaitanyam from Atma Chaitanyam. Therefore, Atma Chaitanya Nimittam eva Chetaritrutvam. Chetaritrutvam is what? The nature of being Chetana. So every human being, animal, etc., they all have Chaitanyam. But that Chaitanyam is not their own. Like the heat in the boiling water does not belong to water. Like that, he says, the sense of being Chaitanyam, Chetayitritvam, the quality of being Chaitanyam does not belong to these achetana vastu. It is borrowed from Atma Chaitanyam. This understanding that there is no vastu anywhere in this jagat which has either existence of its own or chaitanyam of its own and is borrowed from the one single ekameva advitiya vastu is all that one needs to gain. Because then what happens? Automatically, because there is only one vastu, and that I exist is an indisputable fact, therefore that one vastu and I are the same. Clear QED. You cannot make a mistake. And yet we make mistake. We continue to make mistake. So Atma Chaitanya Nimittameva Chetitritvam Anyesham. To others which are not Chaitana, they borrow their Chaitanyam from Atma. So this body-mind sense complex that I have been identifying myself with, I am alive, I am sentient, I can do things, I can think. Who was it who said, Descartes, I think it was, I think, therefore I am. They are great thinkers. But what does that mean? I think, therefore I am. If I didn't think, I'd be a stone. That is only a segregation between Sthula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira. And the Sukshma Sharira is only a medium for recognizing the Atma. Otherwise, there is nothing else. This Atma by itself does nothing. By the very presence appears to create these objects, enter them, and give them sentience. But we know that Atma doesn't do anything. It's a karta. Therefore, we say Atma Maya Sahita. All assumptions, which is a Trigurnatmika lens. Lens is an action word. Atma does nothing. Not only does it lend existence to these pranis, it recognizes every prani's desire and becomes the karma phaladata to give that result to that jiva. You do karma, karma phala is inevitable, infallible connection. Therefore he says, Kincha. Saha sarvajnyaha sarveshwaraha kaminam sansarinam karmanurupa kaman karma phalani swanugraha nimittanscha kaman yaha eko bahunam
कामान यह एको बहुनाम
anekesham
अनेकेषाम्
anayasena vidadhati
अनायासेन विदधाति
prayachati ityetat.
प्रयच्छति इत्येतत्.
This further, this Atma is Sarvajna. all knowledge. Not limited in any way. And Sarveshwara, Sarvasya Ishvara, the Lord of everything. He recognizes the Kami. Kami is what? The one who has desires. Kaminam, of the Kamis. Who are these Kamis? Samsarinam. They all do karma because their karma drives them to do karma. According to that karma they do, karma anurupam kaman, karma phalani, they give the phala, very important word here, swanugraha nimittanscha. Kaman yaha ekah bahunam anekesham anayasena vedadati. 2 key words. One, swanugraha nimittanscha. Some people might argue that karma phala is the law of karma. When you do karma, the law gives the karma phala. But this karma phala, law of karma, is not a sentient thing. It's not a intelligence principle. How can it give all that? There has to be an intelligence backing it. Therefore, the Sarvajnaha, Sarveshwara, Swa Anugraha, by its own presence, its own Anugraha. What does it do? Saya Eko, even though it is only one, Anekesham Vidadati, Vidadati Prachati. All the karma-driven karma and the karma phala is given by this one single entity. Achha, you can imagine how complex this is. So many jivas, so many different karma, so many different karma. Each karma has a specific karma phala. To know all of them, trillions of them, and to be able to give appropriate karma phala to the appropriate jiva. Can you imagine how much of a mix-up there will be if the karma phala is given to the wrong jiva? Bahunam, being only one ekaha, bahunam anekesham. But it does absolutely smoothly. With no anayasena. With no difficulty at all, no error at all, anywhere. Correct karma phala is given for that particular karma to the right jiva. Anayasena vidadati means prayachati iti etat. So, Saguna Ishvara, who is the karma phala dhata, when you recognize this Ishvara and you also recognize the Nirguna Brahman, the one whose presence lends existence and Chaitanyam to all beings, such a person becomes a Dhira Purusha. Tam Atmastham.
Tam Atmastham.
Tam Atmastham.
Ye Anupashyanti Dhiraha.
Ye Anupashyanti Dhiraha.
Tesham Shantihi Uparatihi
येषां
Tesham
शान्तिः
Shantihi
शान्तिः शाश्वती
Shashvati means Nitya.
Shashvati
शाश्वती
Nitya
नित्या नेतरेषां
Swatmabhutaiva Syat
स्वात्मभूतैव स्यात्
Na Itaresham
इतरेषां
Tesham
इतरेषाम्
Anevam Vidhanam.
एवं विधानाम्
This one who is able to see tam atmastham ye anupashyanti. The dhiraha, the person who understands this, who sees this single ekameva advitiya vastu, which is the karanam for everything, which is the giver of everything, including existence, including chaitanyam, and including karma phala. That one, with clear thinking, see that that one has to be I. Everything else is non-self-existing, non-self-shining, self-revealing. They need this single vastu to reveal it. Therefore, I, and unfortunately I say I like this. It's a habit that doesn't go. But I am the real cause of everything in this jagat, including this body, mind, sense complex. I am the only vastu. Such a person can be called a Dhira Purushaha. And for him, the phala is he recognizes himself as Shashvati Shantihi, Shanti Swarupa, not scaled Shanti. Recognizes I as the Shanti Swarupa, Shashvata Shanti, Uparati, all mean same thing. Only for such a person. Na itaresham, nobody else who does not recognize this, who does not see this as himself or herself, can gain this Shashvati Shanti. They can gain relative Shanti, which is Anitya. It will come, it will go. It will increase, it will decrease. But Shashvati Shanti, only the one who recognizes the Aikyam, the oneness, recognizes himself or herself as that one Vastu, as the very Swarupa of Shanti and Sukham, is the Dhira Purusha. Bhagavan will finish this with, I think, only 2 more verses left in this. One question, Manchaketa, followed by a very beautiful answer which all of us chant many times. We will see that tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya
पूर्णमेव
Purnamevavasishyate
अवशिष्यते
Om
ॐ
Shanti Shanti
शान्तिः
Shanti.